Okay. Good evening. Welcome to the December 11, 2018 meeting of Pequannock Township Council. Ms. Marsh?
In accordance with the requirements of New Jersey's Open Public Meetings Act, notice of this meeting was included in the annual meeting notice, which was filed in the office of the Township Clerk, posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building, published as a legal notice in the Suburban Trends newspaper, and distributed to all persons requesting notice in accordance with Township policy.
Please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by a prayer and a moment of thanks for individuals serving our nation.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Most gracious Providence, we ask that you bless this governing body with an abundance of wisdom and understanding, so that every deliberation will result in actions which will promote the common good and the general welfare for all the people of Pequannock Township. Amen.
Amen.
The clerk will please call the roll.
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Here.
Mr. Hurd?
Here.
Mr. Cole?
Here.
Mr. Phelan is absent. Mayor Winterfield?
Here. There are no presentations scheduled for this evening, so at this time, are there reports or comments from any volunteers serving our community? Thanks.
Frank Spazzeri, 35 West Franklin Avenue, and Vice Chair for the Open Space Committee. We had our meeting last night, and the slate is going to be the same. Joe Wells will be the chairman, I will be the vice chair, and Robin will be the secretary. So hopefully we'll get more done this year again, as we have in the past. One other thing, we were talking about, you brought this up at the last meeting about the pumpkin name for the book. We had a little conversation about that last night. And they're pretty much, Pumpkin is going to be the name. I suggested Pequannock, because we are part of the Indian family here, you know. And I thought Pequway would be nice, because it would be Pequannock and Way instead of Pumpkin, but
unfortunately,
that went over like that went over like a lead.
You tried.
And yeah, I figured, you know, if you're looking for a different name, that's one to do. The rest of the business was just business as usual, and you know, I told you last time that Joe is working on, with the Scout on Riverside, putting up the kiosk. A little cold out there, so it's not completely finished right at the moment, but as soon as it warms up a little bit, and that may be in spring, but I'm not too sure. But anyway, that's about it. Anybody got any questions for open space? I'd be glad to answer. Thank you.
Nope. Thanks.
Thank you, Frank.
Nick?
Nick Stefano, 28 Greenwood Ave, Pequannock. Adam, I know this was brought up to you earlier, but I was able to go and check out that water situation over by the dog park, and I spoke to a couple local residents that go there on a regular basis. Now, I don't know how true what they're saying is, but they're saying it's about 3 feet higher than they've ever seen it. So I don't know if there is something backing up, but I mean, it is backing into the dog park and into the firing range. And I mean, it looked like some of those drainage spots are really clogged up. So, I mean...
Are you talking about the retention pond?
Yeah. And like I said, I was talking to a guy today that's there all the time, and he said it's literally 3 feet higher than it's ever been. So, I mean, it'll be interesting to see what happens if we really do get an inch of rain on Friday. But, I mean, it's very close to actually crossing into that parking lot. So, I just wanted to give you that feedback regarding, you know, somebody that goes there all the time.
No, he's looked at it.
What drains are we talking about? Because I was told that there are no drains in the actual pond itself.
It looks like there is one, though. If you look about probably 10 to 12 feet in, it looks like, I mean, you know, you got your standard almost drainway, where it's like, cinder blocks around, and then you see the grid on top of it. So I don't know. I mean, I don't really know that.
Why don't we let Adam, Adam's done some investigation.
It's just, I know, I've never seen it, anything like that.
Well, Adam has checked it out. He'll tell you what he's found out so far.
The body of water, and I don't know if we call it a pond or a very large puddle at this point. Everybody agrees. I've had significant conversation with the township engineer, the public works staff, and nobody's seen it at this height before. The challenge is there's really nowhere for the water to go.
Yeah.
So it collects from a number of areas, but with the groundwater being as high as it is, for those who aren't aware, well 3 is located there. Well 3 ceased operationally because the water was high in sodium. So in order to maintain our adequate levels of hardness, we weren't using well 3, so therefore the aquifer is not draining.
All right, so
that was a few years ago. So that's
contributing.
That was several years ago. So but in the time period that we haven't been using well 3, I don't know if we've had the amount of rainfall that we've had. So it may be a confluence of a number of factors. But we're monitoring it. Unfortunately, the bark park is somewhat compromised by water at this point. It's about midway up the back fence. I was there today at 3:30.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to cross into that parking lot for a while. I think we'd have to raise up a whole lot to get that far.
Well, what's curious is if we do get that rain, that area that I was saying, it's really basically right to the top. So the water really doesn't have nowhere to go after that. So it's going to be curious to see. And then,
but it's doing no harm, Nick. I mean, it's not harming anything.
No.
There's no structure or anything it's harming there. It's a good location.
It's unusual.
Well, except where,
very unusual.
Where they shoot in the gun range. That's
they won't be shooting. They won't be doing it.
We got to keep it clear.
There'll be light conditions, dark conditions, and wet conditions now for qualifying. So he doesn't know you have to qualify under 2 conditions.
I would have to say it's probably the groundwater table, because, you ride around the local streets, there's people pumping that have never pumped.
Yes.
You see, where's that water coming from? And all of a sudden you see a hose coming from the back of their house.
Right. There's a lot of sub pumps working overtime right now.
And there's probably some pumps that aren't, some pumps that they have some sort of pump hooked up now, trying to get some of the water out.
Yeah.
Just to clarify, Adam, so that is a retention pond, so it's not designed to drain out to anywhere. The things drain into it, but there is not an outgoing.
Having never read a comprehensive study, that's my understanding through
Yeah, I don't think it's a detention pond. I think it's a retention pond. Yeah.
Yeah, the only way I would see is if there's something, Ryan, that somehow at one time, might lead, underneath and somehow.
I remember a conversation on planning board.
Yeah.
I believe everything pointed to there, and then they redid the building next door, which I believe drains into there. But I do not ever remember anything going out. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thanks.
Thank you, Nick.
Anyone else? Okay. There being no additional public comment, we'll continue with the agenda. Next on the agenda is manager's report. Mr. Brewer?
Thank you, Mayor. Real quickly, there was discussion at the last meeting about the super top secret holiday party for the volunteers and staff. It is no longer super top secret. An invitation should have gone out after this memo was written, but before today. It is Tuesday, December 18th from 12 noon to 2 p.m. So staff and volunteers are welcome to stop by the senior house. We've got food coming, and we look forward to celebrating the conclusion of 2018.
It did go out. What's important that Diane did say in there for everybody is you need to send it to your committees, because only if they have a Pequannock email. So you got to make sure you send it to maybe your chair and let them disseminate it to everybody else.
So it only went out to
people with Pequannock email.
And several liaisons and chairs have sent it out, but two or three emails is always better than one.
Right, exactly.
Board of Health meeting, Mr. Coriel was here and did an excellent job. Mountain Avenue Water Assessment Confirmation Hearing, I can go into that in more detail at the public hearing moment. generator for the Pequannock Township High School. Within the packet and for the council's consideration this evening is a resolution authorizing additional expenditures associated with the generator at the high school project. For those who are not aware, when the generator is now physically on site, but it's not connected. So when the work began to connect it into the high school, the contractor struck oil. And not in the good way. They discovered an underground storage tank that was previously unknown or forgotten that had oil product in it. So the board has had to retain an LSRP and deal with all the environmental requirements of mitigating and mediating that situation. There's been regular communication with the board, but consistent with the letter written by Ms. Bechtel, the board's business administrator, the request is that the new conduit and connections all be done above ground. So that corresponds with additional costs, which is why the resolutions have been scheduled to authorize that for your consideration tonight. The grant is hoped to cover all of this. However, if the grant doesn't cover this, obviously it was at the request of the Board of Education, and as you may be aware, there's an agreement between the Township and the Board of Education calling for the board to bear the cost of anything above and beyond the grant. So that's that issue. Master Plan Stakeholders Committee, as the council is aware, because the contract had previously been awarded, thank you very much, very exciting times. The master plan is now set to initiate, and one of the things that I have seen and is always recommended is a stakeholders group to steer that process. Obviously, the master plan is the jurisdiction of the planning board, not the township council, so they would have ultimate authority over that process. But before I went to them, I wanted to just seek some guidance from the council. The group that was established to select the planner consisted of 2 members of council, 4 members of the planning board. I didn't know if we wanted to have the same 2 representatives as previously included, if we wanted to have 2 new representatives, and then whatever the council thought was best, I would circle back to the planning board chairman to get his input and then proceed with moving forward with the plan.
I'd like to stay on it.
I'm fine with keeping it the way it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm okay with it.
There you go.
Okay, thank you. Lastly, Municipal Flood Advocate Jennifer McCulloch provided some information. The Township's appeal of the preliminary flood insurance rate map, which was a great subject of discussion. I know the residents had some significant concerns, justifiably. I know staff put a lot of time into it. We're hoping to get a response back from FEMA in December.
Merry Christmas, right?
The two, yeah, and then I no indication on which way they're going to go, but I just wanted to provide the update that we might actually have information.
That's not our appeal.
Right.
Correct. The response to our appeal to...
And that's December of what year?
This year.
This year.
This year, so it could be any
This year.
time.
Unless we get nothing, and then I defer to FEMA, who tends to
Yeah, and you...
redesign processes.
Well, basically, whatever they come back with, isn't that just what it is, or there's another step?
You can
still appeal.
You can appeal the appeal.
Yeah, I think there's additional process
All right,
that can be undertaken, so... But hopefully, I'm going to cross my fingers and
Okay.
hope for the best. The staff did some great work, engineering, et cetera.
Okay.
FEMA grant for 2018 for the home elevations has been sent to New Jersey OEM for review. That's the first step. This March, we have signed up for, and we're going to participate in a tabletop exercise.
That's good.
So we're going to get everybody in, and I love simulated emergencies. They're much better than real emergencies. Being new to the organization, having some new people around the table, I think it'll be beneficial to really do a legitimate exercise. We're going to bring in, they have recommended people from healthcare and not just governmental entities. So
So that's going to happen in town here?
it's going to happen in the municipal building.
Okay.
There will be, it's a FEMA program, so it will be consistent with FEMA's, it'll be all FEMA's exercise. Anybody ever been to a How to Host a Mystery Party?
Yeah.
It's a lot like a How to Host a Mystery Party, except it's their issues and you work through it and you see where your knowledge gaps are. Hopefully, we'll also be testing the emergency management notification at some point between now and then. We want to get through the bad weather, so we're not hitting people when they think it could be an issue. But so that'll be happening in March. And then Jennifer wanted to mention that Congress reauthorized the National Flood Insurance Program until December 7th. and hopefully it'll be another 6 months it was done. So we're moving forward on that. Last thing on the subject of water and flooding in the region, Jennifer and I attended a regional meeting this afternoon with the Assistant Commissioner of DEP and a number of his staff, Dam Safety and Management, to talk about the administration of the Pompton Dam. It was a good learning experience for me, being new to the township, getting to hear directly from them how everything works. It was also a good opportunity to speak with the folks in Pompton Lakes and Wayne and Lincoln Park to kind of join together collectively to talk about what we can all do together. So it was a positive opportunity to hear a message, not always necessarily what you want to hear, but facts are facts.
So what did they say they're going to do? Nothing. It was just how it operates.
It was how it operates. The primary message from the towns was, we know we're at 100% in the river basin. We know the water table is high.
Right.
We know all the reservoirs are full. So the question was, why aren't we drawing down the reservoirs knowing spring is coming? Some reservoirs have significantly more capacity than other reservoirs, so there's more effect in some cases, but at this point, DEP states there's no ability for them to demand any of the water purveyors to do that.
That was a really lame answer.
That has to come from the governor. And it happened once, and they should do it again.
The report that they gave on that was that they voluntarily complied with a request. There actually is no enforcement.
That's true. It was a request.
But that's so we said as a group, we said, listen, maybe we should have a coalition. We talked a lot about the desnagging, de-shoaling, and all those efforts, how regionally we can be more effective than just every municipality going at it at their own.
Right.
And we talked about the permitting. It takes a year and a half, to get some of these permits.
Right.
So, why is it so arduous for us to do things that we know, if
that are preventative.
If the volume of potholes existed on Route 287,
right,
that's consistent with the shoaling and the snags in the river,
it'd be fixed.
There'd be a massive increase to the gas tax, by way of example. But with rivers, there doesn't seem to be that level of attention. So that was the message that we did our best to
Can we
convey.
draft a letter requesting that and send it to the neighboring towns that are in the Passaic County River Basin and
Be happy to
create a letter that goes to the governor?
Certainly.
Yeah, it seems like something we should definitely do. You talked about it, and the surrounding towns, I'm sure, would all be on board. So
well, you're best doing it by resolution.
Yeah.
But I'll work with Carol to draft a resolution, and Bob, and I'll reach out to the neighboring communities after this. Fairfield was also there from Essex
Definitely
County.
have something ready.
Yeah, if you could come collectively with some kind of language that we could share with them, and they would do the same.
Right. Will do. That
That's a good
concludes
idea.
my report. Thank you.
Okay, great. Anybody have any questions on that?
No.
Okay, good. Public hearings. Next on the agenda is public hearing on Mountain Avenue water assessment. Oh, Mr. Weber.
That's me. In 2011, the Township Council adopted Ordinance 2011-24 that provided funding for the construction of an extension to a water supply main in the Township of Pequannock, specifically on Mountain Avenue. The ordinance established an assessment for the single house, which is Block 1101, Lot 8, that was to be served by the water main. In addition to the water main to the home, there was a fire hydrant installed to increase fire protection in the area. The project was completed in 2012. Approximately 500 plus or minus linear feet of 8-inch ductile iron water main was installed. The maximum amount that could be assessed based upon the ordinance that was adopted was $20,000. After the project was completed, the township's appraiser was commissioned to do an analysis to determine the value of the improvement. His recommendation is that the improvement is worth $20,000. Therefore, the appropriate and required notice was sent out to the property owner as well as published in the various places. And we now have the public hearing. If there are any questions on it, I'd be happy to entertain them. And should the council seem fit to confirm the assessment, the resolution of confirmation will be scheduled for the 21st of December.
Okay. Are there any comments
I
from
had
council?
one quick thing. It's not a big deal, but I noticed there was a typo on the assessed value. They said that it came to...
What page are you on?
I guess it's page 5, if you look at that one. It was basically the land and the improvement, they flipped the numbers. It was 947, not 974.
Transposition, okay.
And so it affects it a little bit because of the calculation, but I don't think it's a big deal. But,
Thank you.
so I don't know. I mean, I can see where they got the 20,000 from. Basically, it would come out then, instead of the taxes at 22,353, it was only 21,733. But I just noticed the number was flipped, so.
I do have a question.
What was that?
And the
I have a
cost-
question.
Oh, all right. Mhm.
Sorry. What I cannot find is, what was the actual cost of the extension of
40.
this four-main line?
Wasn't it?
The ordinance capped the improvement
The
amount
assessment at 20.
At 20. The ordinance was for $40,000 to fund it. The
Right.
total cost was $59,000.
It cost us $59,000 to do this.
Correct.
And they're capped at $20,000.
Correct.
So do we need a motion to open the public?
We will,
Go ahead.
as soon as everybody gets their questions done.
Okay, I thought maybe before the questions, we should,
Well, no, council's first.
okay.
Yeah, all right.
Are there any other, is there anybody else that can connect to this, that can use it, or is it just specifically for the one? Is there anybody else that can connect into this?
I guess not at this time.
Yeah, I don't think at this time there's anybody that's expressed an interest since it was installed in 2012, so.
And that was,
They would have to extend the water main themselves.
So they would have to extend from their house to this main?
Yeah, from 183 to their house.
Up higher.
I don't think there's any other houses that it went by that
No, I don't think so
No.
either.
were on.
Yeah, that's what I was getting at, okay. Thank you. That's all my
Okay.
question.
Yeah, had anyone else been served by the improvement, they could have been assessed as well.
Okay.
Right.
Is there a motion to open the public hearing?
I'll make that motion.
second.
All in favor?
Aye.
If anyone in the audience has questions or comments on this ordinance, please come to the microphone and identify yourself for the record. And Rocco.
Rocco Salucci, 153 Jacksonville Road. I have two questions. How is it possible that the town spends $50,000 and you only charge 20?
That was the maximum that was allowed to be assessed based on...
I understand that. How can anybody go through with a project like this here without at least, say, to the person that you're going to connect to, if it's whatever's going to cost, you pay for it. It's not the town's job to put in almost over 50% of what the project has cost over there to facilitate a person that it needs the water, unless it was a dire need.
Well, we also put a fire hydrant.
There was a fire safety need that
It
was...
wasn't just...
I understand, well. The other point is, when was this project done?
2012.
And we just now are getting around to assess this person?
That is correct.
That's correct.
That's pretty nice. Imagine if I had a company or ran a business like that, I'll run right to the ground. Why did it take, 4 or 5 years, 6 years? To assess and collect the money. Besides that, we did a benevolence to the person that would connect the water. Did somebody will sleep at the wheel?
It was discovered and corrected.
I appreciate the new manager taking on this over here, but the question that I have, what happened in the last 5, 6, 7 years? Why didn't somebody do the job?
It was unfortunately not assessed, and now it is.
Yeah. Let's say we found it, thank goodness. And
It's an unfortunate situation. I hope you don't have any more of those situations around still. Thank
Do you
you.
agree? Any other comments? Is there a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is there a motion to adopt this ordinance?
I'll make a motion to adopt.
Wait, I'm sorry.
What?
Wrong script.
If that's in the script, then that
Oh, all
was a
right.
mistake.
That's right, it was Mr. Weber, too.
Yeah, Mr. Weber.
Instead of Mr. Weber.
Again, I will, the
Yeah, right.
public hearing is now...
You said December 17th.
Yeah, concluded on December 21st. There will be a
Right.
resolution for the council's consideration to confirm the assessment.
There we go. All right. Next, there's no ordinance at this time for introduction. Resolutions, Ms. Moore. There's a lot of them. Take your time.
Go on, chunk it up, maybe 5 at a time.
Yeah, take a breath
stuttering in the middle.
Yeah, take a breath.
Beginning with Resolution R 2018-207, authorizing tax office refunds, overpayments, or cancellations. 2018-22. Oh boy, we're starting at the beginning
Yeah,
of
you're
this.
already on.
Start over.
208, authorizing release of deposits for construction in a township right-of-way. 209, authorizing release of a maintenance bond. 210, authorizing the discretionary award of a contract for sewer connections and septic abandonment for 615 and 621 Newark Pompton Turnpike in the amount of $20,960 in accordance with the quotation provided. R 2018-211, authorizing purchases from designated vendors awarded contracts under the State of New Jersey Cooperative Purchasing Program. 2018-212, authorizing changes to the village area sewer assessment. R 2018-213 is being removed from the agenda. R 2018-214, accepting sanitary sewer easements in conjunction with the Route 23 sanitary sewer project. 2018-215, authorizing the township manager to execute discharges or subordination of mortgages granted to the township in conjunction with the Affordable Housing Program. 2018-216, authorizing the transfer of 2018 municipal budget appropriations. 2017, establishing the date of the 2019 reorganization meeting. R 2018-218, approving change order number 5 for the Mountain Avenue Water Storage Tank and Transmission Main Contract 1 project, increasing the contract with DN Tanks Incorporated of Wakefield, Mass. by $24,766.47 to a revised contract price of $2,514,462.48, and R 2018, approving payment of the itemized claims as set forth on the December 7th, 2018 bill list and the December 7th, 2018, 2015, and 2016 FEMA elevation escrow lists.
Thank you. Are there any comments on these resolutions from council?
Quick question on R 2018-218. Adam, could you just go over what that 24,000 plus is for again on the tank?
The project is now complete, so as a component of that, the engineer and the contractor are reviewing quantities. So this is a reconciliation of quantities. So when a bid is submitted, it's assumed they're going to need 50 red bricks. Right. But they needed 53 red bricks. And there's some give and take on it.
Okay, all right. Anyone else down there?
How are we doing on the sanitary sewer assessments for Route 23? Slowly?
Slowly. A letter has been drafted that's going to be going out shortly to those who have not yet responded. We've also had a number of meetings with interested parties because, when you seek to acquire property or the ability to use property, people have some concerns. So we've been working through those.
And can you touch base on 215, just to... Bob, what is 215?
That's the affordable housing. Or that's normal, we do that, yeah.
No, it is, what we had done is we typically had been bringing, every time we have to do a mortgage subordination, or when we had a discharge mortgage because somebody sold a property, we'd bring it to the council, we'd do a resolution, we'd get the authorization, and we'd have the mayor sign it. Okay. The process is rather cumbersome. There's real estate transactions going on, people need to move. These are boilerplate resolutions, frankly. If somebody's going to sell their property, we have to discharge the mortgage that we have on their property. Of course, we take a mortgage on that new property for the new owner. So rather than have every one of them come to the council, we're going to authorize the township manager to sign it. And that way we can move it quicker and be a little bit more responsive to people when they have the need. And I think
Will that be something that has to be done annually, or no?
No, I think we're just going to do this now and set this as our policy.
Okay, all right.
And if I could just amplify that, should there ever be an instance where something of concern rises to the level where it isn't a standard operating thing, it will be brought to the council's attention for legislative consideration. So as long as it's something that's a pro forma action that has to be undertaken, it will be done this way. Outside of that, it will be scheduled for the council's discussion.
Okay.
And like you said, that's just a change that has nothing to do with the fact that we hired Nick. And
It doesn't-
It's just that it's procedurally, we don't need to go through all those steps.
I will say, having somebody in place administratively gives us the confidence to know, gives Adam the confidence to know that person's also looking at it and sending it on. So we've got two layers of people looking at it and being sure that it's okay. And then I'm looking at it, because I'm typically drafting the
Right.
actual
Okay.
discharge. So it felt like the process we had put in place was kind of overkill for what we were doing. And frankly, I'm not aware of any other town that puts it through this many chains before we
Right.
get there, so.
Well, I guess because it was new to us at one time,
Right.
you just did that.
And can I ask you, I guess, on the one that was removed, is that something that's going to be coming up again? It's just we removed it for today?
Yes.
Yeah, we had some concern about the description and wanted to get a few more answers to put in the resolution.
And in an effort to get it done, we were hoping we were going to get it and didn't.
You didn't, okay.
Okay,
Thank you.
all right. You good down there, Brian?
I am good.
Okay. Is there a motion to adopt these resolutions?
I'll make a motion to adopt Resolution 2018-2007, 2008, 2009, 2010, 2011, 2012, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, and 19.
Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Roll call?
Mrs. Florence Lynch?
Yes.
Mr. Hurd?
Yes.
Mr. Cole?
Yes.
Mayor Winterfield?
Yes. There are no items for discussion. There are no reports or notices. So the next item on the agenda is reports and announcements. Councilwoman Florence Lynch.
I do not have a report tonight at all.
Okay. Councilman Hurd.
Okay, Frank did a great job of doing the council report for open space, so I'm not going to talk about that. Municipal Alliance Committee is tomorrow at 4:30 at the high school. Flood Committee is this Thursday at 7:30. I do have one thing that was brought up. Adam, I think you're researching this. I didn't have a chance to talk to you about it, but it has to do with the garden and the Boy Scouts. There was a contractor over the summer that put a pool in for a resident over on that side of town, and they really kind of, they were using our property to get up to behind the house, and it's all ripped up, and there's a lot of stuff that needs to be done to put it back to nature, I want to say, which also affected the Boy Scout project. Do you know about that?
I may.
Now.
No, there are two such instances that I can think of, so.
Okay.
I may be aware of the specific one, but if not, I'm happy
All right, I'll follow up offline.
to address it.
Other than that, that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Councilman Cole?
Parks and Rec meeting was canceled due to lack of quorum. First Aid Squad had their meeting last night. Just some tallies for year-to-date so far. I guess their year runs to the end of November, so they had 765 calls for the year. Total number of member hours were 19,829 hours. There were 12 members with over 700 hours. And if you want to know the top 4 calls, fall victim, there was 97, sick person, there was 69, standby fire was 124, and traffic accidents were 50.
Okay.
That was all calculated into the 765.
Wow. And we're not even done yet.
Yeah, Stacy, what does their year run to the end of November?
Oh, all right. So that's their year.
November to November, yeah. So as you can see, they're very busy. So, and last night at the meeting, I thanked them all for their dedication and support for the residents of Pequannock Township.
I guess the one thing I noticed last night too were a lot of young people, and
Yes.
by talking to the officers and things, though, they still need
Members.
members and volunteers. So anybody who's watching this or knows anybody, if they're always welcome more. So, anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay. So I have a couple things, just to wrap up the year. I know, Adam, we started with, one of my first questions to you was the planning board training. I just want to make sure that Pequannock is covered and that all the planning board members and future ones get the proper training they're supposed to. I don't know if they did. All right. I should have asked this when Pete was here. The Clean Communities grant, somehow they put that on hold and said there would be more next year. Do you know anything about that? Because there were organizations who wanted to use that for the $300 for park cleanup, and then they wouldn't accept any more at the end of the year.
No, I'll have to follow up with Pete. I don't know. I know it's been ongoing.
Yeah, he put it on hold for the last 2 months. I don't know why. The Historic Commission, they didn't have a quorum either, so they didn't have a full meeting. They do have a new applicant who put in, so when you have your reorg, if you would consider that, because they're going to need that with the need of retiring and leaving, so that'd be a replacement for that. Was there a water notice that was going to go out?
DEP notified us we didn't need to send it out.
Really?
Correct. Because our system was in compliance, it was a system that we were purchasing bulk from, and because we were blending it and didn't exceed, at this time, we did not need to send a notice.
Okay. And then we talked about the water tower. I guess there's a plaque there, but are we going to have some kind of like a dedication or something of that?
Now, unfortunately, it's cold.
Yeah, I know, but we usually do. When we had the blending facility, we did, and different things that we do, so I just wanted to bring that up. And we never did a plaque for the Martin Berry House. Okay. So we should probably backdate that with the time and at least have that and put it next to the county's plaque that they have there.
I agree.
Right. Yeah, I stole your idea there, Ryan, but just wanted to remember. I don't know if you ever brought it up, so I put it in my notes here.
And I know, I apologize for interrupting, I know with the water tower, there was definitely the plan to do that. It was supposed to be completed sometime in June when Mr. Holberg was still in place. Unfortunately, we didn't get everything wrapped up as evidenced by the change order tonight. But
I still have an issue with the location, behind the fence.
That's probably for a reason.
Well, as long as they don't spell
it doesn't get destroyed.
HEARD will be okay.
Yeah, right. Okay, and the only other thing I have is the Environmental Commission meets tomorrow night. And that's it. Next on the agenda is public comment. If anyone wishes to address the council, please wait to be recognized to come to the microphone, provide your name and address for the record. Rocco, I'd be disappointed if you didn't.
Yeah, we haven't
Been away
seen
for
you in a
so
while.
long.
Still Rocco Solucci, I haven't changed my name yet. The person that's getting assessment on the water connection, has he been paying for the usage of the water all these years?
The property that has been served by the system has been paying for water usage, yes.
It has?
Yes.
Okay, was that only a water connection over there, or was also sewers?
I don't know at this time. I know water they've been paying for.
But you have been collecting the consumptions?
Correct.
For the, okay, all this year?
Since it was installed, so.
Excuse me?
Since it was installed.
Since it was installed.
So I would believe prior years as well.
I'll leave it like that. I have another question. You have a new contract that is going to be drawn up for the liaison to the fair housing for the gentleman who's representing the town, I guess. From my understanding was that the contract was issued to somebody else, and this person was working for that person that the contract was issued. And I made a comment when we were in the fair housing that would be kind of nice to go directly to the person and issue the person who's doing the work, the contract, and cut out the other person who's getting the money and they're not doing anything. Actually, they did a very bad job for the answering machines that were never really taken care of the proper way. So if you're looking into the new contract, at least from the fair housing, we're all in agreement to at least issue this person who's doing a fantastic job. I believe that you probably would agree with that, so.
I would agree.
However, it would be kind of nice to cut out the other person, or agreeing, whatever it is, that you guys issued a contract to.
I believe the new contract is just for Nick.
Correct.
We are not going with the third party. So Nick will
However,
get someone.
somebody should look into it, because it's like a double whammy on it. The gentleman is doing a fantastic job on the liaison and also taking care of the stuff that has to be done. I like to see actually a less amount to issue directly to the person, because we're cutting out the other person. He's only getting not even half of the amount, and the other half is going to the other company who was, the contract was issued to, and they're not doing anything, so.
The whole amount now is going to Nick.
Just for the benefit of the record, moving forward, consistent with the recommendation of Chairman Sulice and the committee, it will be directly to the individual, and there won't be a additional party included.
Like I said, I have nothing but nice things to say about the gentleman doing a fantastic job. However, it's my opinion, nobody else's, that there was a little excessive, the amount that it was issued to on it. Take into consideration that we had a secretary for so many years that was doing a great job. They were doing at the tune of $1,000 a month. And we're not having meetings every month. I mean, when we have a full plate or one, now we take care of it. Otherwise, we take care over the phone.
Yeah, but I wonder why you're not having the meetings every month, because I'm sure there's issues to be talked about, because there's always incidents going on in those buildings.
The deal with that is that if we have a meeting, there's actually nothing to discuss. Then it'd be kind of hard for some of the people to take out that time and show up over there. Okay, we'll sit down. Hi, how are you, and everything like that.
Did you receive back all the census this year, 100%?
As it is right now, it's my opinion that we're ahead of what we were last year.
But you didn't get 100% compliance.
The compliance that we have right now is basically the same 4 or 5 people that we've been going through every year. And the last meeting, we issued at least an advisement, for lack of a stronger word, to go after them. I say, take action right now and go after. You have at least the 4 same people. You can look it up, in 80 years.
Let them get away with it.
They're getting away with it. We went after a couple that they were subletting the units at one now. We've been on top of this year. And so far, I mean, I picked on the gentleman a couple of times, and when we find out what the problem was not his. I mean, one day I had somebody screaming on the phone. They were looking for somebody to get in touch with, and there was nobody to be found. And I got in touch with the manager's office over there, and we finally got through to the problem. And then we find out what the heck was going on was that the person who was getting the money, they were not doing their job. So that's why I'm saying it would be kind of nice to recommend the people that they're doing the job to issue the contract with.
Thanks, Rocco.
The other thing, well, I'm on the fair housing thing. We've been talking for almost a year or so, at least, well, I haven't been around a year, but I've been bringing this up every time that I get a chance about Earl's Village, to try to get some credits and everything. As you know, we're approaching over the 30-year mark, and before some ruffle and anything comes on this side, they want to shore up some credits towards the fair housing so we don't get caught, excuse our language, with the pants down.
Did we ever find out why Hurl Village isn't counted in the...
It's age restricted, so you can only get partial credit.
Right.
But we should be getting some credit for that.
That might be a reach out.
Even if you get, I don't know how many units are there, even if you get 40, 50, 60,
15.
Even if you get 15, 20, 30, we'll be way ahead of what our compliance is, so we don't have to worry about it. God forbid anything should happen to 1 or 2 units. It's better to be ahead than then get caught short to where the town is going to end up buying some units, and then again cheaper, so. That's basically what I have. Well, I have something else that's been bothering me for the last 5 years, the eyesore that you have next to Frank's Service Center. This guy is parking actually on the town's property. Why ain't somebody going after them? I mean, if he keeps it nice and organized, you have at least some ordinance on the book stating that you have to have a fence all the way around, and everything has got to be within inside the fence. And every time I pass by over there, this guy pretty soon is going to put him in the middle of the street and stuff. I have nothing against whoever owns the property over there, but if everybody else is going to abide by the law, why is he excluded?
there have been ongoing enforcement.
I know. This I've been bringing up the last 5 years. I don't
Just
know
for
if you're aware
the
of it.
benefit of the record, for
Correct.
everybody present, I want to make sure everybody's aware that there have been ongoing enforcement activities, and as I've said before, with respect to compliance, I wish I had the magic wand of do what we want you to do. But
Stop bringing them up,
unfortunately,
to court every time I turn around over there. For every item that you get a chance, until they end up, that's gonna cost them money, maybe he's gonna decide, okay, it's about time I do something right. So that's about it, other than wish you guys a Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Same
Thank
to
you,
you,
Mark.
Mr. Solucci.
Right. Anyone else, public comment? Sharon, haven't heard from you in a while? No? Okay. We're calling on people, right? Next on the agenda is minutes for approval, November 27th and December 4th. Did everybody have a chance to?
Yes.
I did.
If you want, I'll make a motion.
Okay.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from November 27th, 2018, and December 4th, 2018.
I'll second.
I guess you do a roll call, because I have to recuse myself from the one. I wasn't here, so,
No, you can still call for the vote, just don't vote.
yeah. All right, well, we're going to do it together. All right, all in favor?
Aye.
And you know what to do with December 4th for me?
Yes.
Okay. Closed session, I believe we have one, so next on the agenda will be a closed session item. I think it'll be equipment, if everybody wants to hang around, we want to come back in. Is there a motion to go into closed session?
I'll make a motion to go into closed session.
To discuss contract
Second.
negotiations.
Second?